Hello and welcome to the StarCommand Podcast. I am David Seymour with my good friend Alan Bragg. We're here to bring you all the latest and greatest from the college and NFL games. If you could, before we get started, hit that like, subscribe, and share button down at the bottom of your screen. Help us to get this thing out here and popping. How are we doing tonight, Alan?
Doing good, man. I'm up in North Carolina, Elizabeth City. I'm traveling all week, and I get to fly home tomorrow. So everything's good. I got to see the sunshine for a couple hours today. It's been kind of drizzly, raining a little bit, and
Oh yeah, it's that fall weather up there, isn't it?
yeah. But happy to get back to the great state of Florida tomorrow.
Well, we'll be glad to have you back. So interesting couple weeks in college football. Obviously, we didn't get to do our show last week. It was my man's birthday, so he had a bunch of things going on for that. We got to go out and celebrate him. But in that celebration, one of the things that we watched was the collapse of Billy Napier and the Florida Gators once again. It took us all of 2 weeks to get into Billy Napier needs to be fired.
That was quick, right?
Quick.
Quick.
He just barely saved his job at the end of last season.
DJ Lagway was the savior for a short time, right?
Correct.
And again, it can turn around. But yeah, that was very disappointing. Can't have that happen. It's those are the losses that the Arkansas, Kentuckies, the Vanderbilts, Mississippi States have.
Right.
Not Florida,
Correct.
not LSU, not now Texas, not Georgia, Alabama. Those teams, those upper echelon SEC teams, just can't have that happen, especially to an in-state rival.
Correct.
Not a rival. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say rival. Just an in-state school that's not titled Florida State or Miami.
Correct. And give USF credit. I mean, they had a great game plan. And I was watching their week one matchup against Boise State, and I remember hearing the announcer saying that USF's quarterback was coming back off of, I believe it was a knee injury, but whatever it was, he had been out the whole previous year, and that was part of the reason why USF wasn't very good last year. And they expected big things out of the kid, and he's performed. I mean, they blew Boise State out.
They did.
Then they went into the swamp with a great game plan, and I mean, they stuck with Florida the whole game, and then were able to pull it out at the very last minute. So credit goes to USF. It's not all about Florida's collapse. We want to make sure that we give USF their credit and their flowers for coming in and putting it to a bigger school, But that begs the question, is Billy Napier the right guy for Florida? And I believe that he has continued to answer no to that question. His tenure at Florida has not been great, and he's been given a longer leash than most at a school like Florida. So I wouldn't be surprised if he has another big blunder this year, if he's not gone in the middle of the season.
Well, I mean, the tide's either going to turn around or that tide's going to keep rolling if LSU stomps them. Right? They got LSU. They got LSU this weekend, and you and I kind of talked before we got on here, and I can see that being a defensive battle, typical Florida LSU game. I could also, as you said, see LSU waxing them.
Yeah,
and then it's football and team sports is all about momentum and confidence.
Correct.
And one team, LSU, is high on that confidence right now. They are upper echelon, as high as confidence you can come into a game. Florida is the complete opposite.
Correct.
So LSU waxes them. Where's that game at?
It is in LSU. It's Death Valley.
Even worse. It's a stadium that I have been in and seen a night game at, and it is incredible. What an atmosphere! Now South Florida has a big game. They're 2-0. They're talking about high confidence. They play Miami, and could you
Miami
imagine?
is high flying right now.
Think about South Florida, right? You're the coach there. You beat Boise State, right? A playoff team last year.
Yeah.
Right? You beat Florida, the Florida Gators. Now you have the opportunity to beat Miami in 3 consecutive weeks. Man, oh man, wow.
Look, that dude's going to have every job offer available if he rallies those troops for those 3
games. Coaches
3 top 25 wins, and one of them, Miami's in the top 10, am I correct?
Yeah,
They're
Miami.
like 6 or 7, right?
Miami is fifth.
Fifth. Okay, so they're even higher than what I thought. So, I mean, a top 25, a top 15. I think Florida was like 14th or 15th when they played this past weekend, and then beat the number 5 school in the nation all in consecutive weeks. I mean,
The Boise game, where was that at? That was in South Florida.
that was in South Florida. That was in Tampa.
Florida was in Florida, and
Yep.
then in
Miami's in my.
Gainesville.
I think Miami is in Gainesville, or I mean in
It
Miami.
is. Yeah, Miami's home.
So
Yeah, it's exciting watching that. It's like, let's stay in the state of Florida. How about the Seminoles?
look, the transfer portal is real, man. We were just talking about how week 1, I predicted that Alabama was going to do Alabama things, and they were going to go into Tallahassee and cover the 14 points.
You were
Those
projecting.
four,
You were
yeah,
picking the consistency. Who's been consistent?
correct.
Alabama.
I mean, Florida State was a 2 and something team last year. They were god awful. They couldn't get the quarterback position right. They paid what was his name, DJU Youngaway, or however you pronounce his, DJU. They'd paid him a bunch of money to come in and take over for Jordan Travis, who had just led them to a ACC championship the year before. It looked like they were primed and ready to have a great season last year, and they fell completely flat on their face. And looked like Mike Norvell was on his way out. He used the transfer portal right. They brought in all of the right players this year, and and it's not even just that Alabama game, right? They turned around and followed it up and did exactly what they were supposed to do last week against a lesser opponent. Um, Looks like they're primed and ready to take their seat back at the top of the ACC all over again.
They are. The fact that they're ranked 10th, they cracked the AP poll at number 10 is amazing. And it's a transfer portal. It is 100%. It just shows you that year to year, there's no rebuilding. There's no we've got to get a quarterback, and we've got to get these kids in here, and maybe by the time they're juniors, we can be better.
Right.
No, that's not the landscape.
No.
It can be year to year, and it's just for the teams that are good too. Look at Alabama. You can go the opposite. You can be, elite and almost a playoff team, and then the next year you could possibly be
middle of the pack.
And that's a tough thing for a lot of schools. As an Arkansas fan, it's tough for us because we have to hope for that 1 year. That's all we can hope for. 1 in every 10 years, maybe we get that talent, and then we get the talent. Like, we have a talented football team. We had talented football teams back when we had Darren McFadden, Felix Jones, Peyton Hillis, and we just couldn't still get over that hump of winning 9 games, 10 games. Like that was our max. Ryan Mallett, we got to a Sugar Bowl. Like, it's rare that we get all that talent together and everything clicks, and you have to have, the fact that some of these Georgia and Alabama and these teams can do it, Ohio State can just do it year after year is amazing. Because we just hope for that every 8 years that we get enough talent, and then once you get the talent, you actually got to win.
Yeah,
and you can't just win 9 games. Nine. We're happy with 9, but you got to win 11.
and it's that getting it's almost what Florida's struggling with right now, right? It's getting that talent and meshing it with the right coaching, because we all know DJ Lagway is probably one of the most talented quarterbacks in the country. Right. He was the number 1 high school recruited quarterback coming in, and he left the state of Texas to come to Florida to play for the Gators because of the tradition and all of that. And so now it's about meshing that talent with the right coach, and you mentioned Florida State being in the top 10 is unprecedented for a team to start outside of the top 25 at the beginning of the season. And most of them, even if they go undefeated, don't crack the top 10 at the end of the season. And here we are going into week 3, and those boys over in Tallahassee, Florida State, have gone from unranked to top 10. That is an unprecedented jump. So hats off to them. Let's see if they can keep it up for the rest of the season.
It is. On that note, I'd like to see. I mean, I know that the rankings come out for ratings, right? It's just for ratings, for TV, right? We get, because you want to see that Ohio State Texas game. You want to see one versus three. It's what it's all about. But who knows? They should wait. We should wait till after week 3, and then the rankings come out. But anyway, that's maybe next week.
Yeah. So you were talking about Arkansas a few minutes ago. You guys got a big game against Ole Miss coming up this weekend.
Very big game. We looked really good. We've handled business in our first 2 weeks. We played had an in-state rival, Arkansas State, that we played last week, which was never happened. Played those guys in Little Rock. It was a big game for us, and we handled business. I thought the score would be like 42-21, and it wasn't. We just came out and I think had 28 points in. I don't remember. We were playing poker, and you kept updating the score to me. And it was surprising. I couldn't believe it was still the first quarter. Right. The scores you were telling me. So we've looked really good. We've handled our business, but so has Ole Miss, and they've had the test with Kentucky last week, where they actually played an SEC opponent. So they've had that battle test. We've just got our confidence up.
And Kentucky was giving it to Ole Miss for a minute. Like, you would have really thought that Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss would have just gone in and blown the socks off of Kentucky. And Kentucky had a little bit of fight, and Ole Miss didn't look great. I know their quarterback threw like 2 or 3 interceptions there early in the first quarter, back to back to back. So they definitely looked beatable.
Yeah, there's a lot of points projected in this. I think the over-under 61.5, and I don't see that. I see it, I held the score last week with Ole Miss Kentucky was 30-23. I see something like that being a max. We have been putting up a lot of points, but that's because of who we've played.
Right.
Ole Miss played Georgia State first week. They put up 63. Of course they did. They're supposed to. They put up 30 against Kentucky.
Yeah.
Our defense we're an SEC defense. We're gonna keep them around 30, and then hopefully we're the ones at 33, and hopefully they're the ones at 30-23. But I think I kind of project the same score, Kentucky. Okay. But Taylon Green has looked awesome. He's had now his second year with Bobby Petrino, and we just got new players everywhere. It's the fun thing about the transfer portal. You don't get to know them long. You hear about them in the spring game. You see this guy might be number 2 on the depth chart, and then you see him play a couple weeks, and you get to you go to love him. But it sucks because you don't get to see him.
Blink of an eye.
In a blink of an eye, you're like, man, dude's a stud, and then he's gone. Isaac Tesla, got to see that kid play with us for a year, and he unfortunately him and Taylon Green didn't have that connection. He didn't pop, but that kid's up there with Detroit Lions, just catching touchdowns one-handed, and we only got to know him for 1 year. So something to get used to with college football. But I'm very excited about the game. It's going to be a big one. And obviously it'll be our measuring stick to see where we're at. Then next week, we got Notre Dame. So any way we can pull this one off, boy, let's go.
Boy, Notre Dame's playing all the SEC schools this year, huh? Because they're playing Texas A&M this week.
Yep.
And Texas A&M hasn't looked great. I mean, they've won the games that they're supposed to win, but they haven't looked great. So that'll be an interesting game. And then coming in to play Arkansas, that's Notre Dame's trying to stack their schedule for their ability to get into the playoffs if they win out. So
yeah, I'm looking. I don't know where that game's at. I'm interested to know. I think we're doing a
home and away.
Home and away. See if I can find that real quick. But anyway, there I go ahead getting ahead. We just need to handle Ole Miss, right?
Yeah.
Handle Ole Miss.
Play the schedule that's in front of you, right?
Absolutely.
So you were bringing up before we hit record and started this thing. You were bringing up the top 10 and how we had 4 Big Ten schools in the top 10, and I haven't looked at the rankings this week. So I'm curious. I obviously know 2 of them, Ohio State and Penn State. But I'm curious as to who the other 2 teams from the Big Ten are that are in the top 10.
Oregon.
Okay, yeah. I forget that Oregon's in the Big Ten. Yeah,
makes them getting used to. They're 4. So look at that. You got those 3 in the top 4.
Gee.
LSU is third. Surprise the SEC right there.
Right.
Then you have the one-off Miami sitting at number 5.
Okay.
And then you have another SEC, Georgia at 6, Texas at 7.
Right.
There's Notre Dame sitting at 8, and then Illinois, number 9.
That's surprising.
I could have let you probably name 7 Big Ten teams. You wouldn't have named Illinois, I bet. They've looked good, though, the first 2
They
weeks.
have. And
looked
they
good.
really looked good last year, too. Like, this is a carryover from how they were playing last year. They played really well last year. I think they had a couple of losses. It kept them out of the Big Ten championship and obviously kept them out of the playoffs. They were still a young team, so that's just another year of experience playing well. It'll be interesting to see how they do in the Big Ten. We get this a lot, right? Throughout the history of the top 25, you have a lot of hype around these Big Ten schools. Whether it's the years that it's Wisconsin or the years that it's Nebraska, or everyone blue moon once in a blue moon it's Minnesota, or Illinois now, Indiana a couple years ago. We get these.
Shit, Indiana last year.
Right. So we get
They were like, I think they were 9-0 until they saw Ohio State and
Penn State.
Yeah.
And then, so they're scattered all through the top 15 at the beginning of the season, and then they get to beating up on each other. And they kind of, I don't think that Big Ten schools playing Big Ten schools carries as much weight as an SEC school playing an SEC school, right? Like, an SEC school loses to an SEC school, they don't fall very far in the rankings. But a lot of Big Ten schools.
If you look at an Illinois, right, or you look at an Indiana, are you putting them on the up? Are you putting them? Let's just say Arkansas. Are you saying they're in the class as Arkansas? Or let me put, who else would I put? Like, I wish I could say we're with Ole Miss, because we in my eyes we are. Ole Miss has had better years than recently, but I definitely don't. We're not Mississippi State.
No,
we're not Vanderbilt. We're not Kentucky. Like, where's that? What level do you put like the Illinois and the Indianas and the Minnesotas and the Wisconsins?
Honestly, I would put them on the Kentucky, the Missouri. I know Missouri's had a couple of good years. Mississippi State, yeah. I mean, Vandy's even a tier below all of that. Vandy's one of those. I mean, they had a great year last year. They're playing lights out again this year.
They're the Northwestern.
Yeah, but Vandy and Northwestern are on that like same level. So, but I would put Illinois and Indiana on and Wisconsin and Nebraska, all of those schools on like a Mississippi State, South Carolina kind of level. Although South Carolina's looking really good this year, but that's again one of those every couple of years. Those guys. Old Miss has looked good since Lane Kiffin's got there, but they've never. Even with Lane Kiffin, they're no more than a 9 or 10 win team. They're not vying for a playoff spot.
Absolutely.
This game coming up against Arkansas. There's a lot of people that would put Arkansas as a tier below Ole Miss, and I've heard other guys say it. I've heard some talking heads say it. This is the game that Lane Kiffin loses every year and leaves people scratching their heads. Like, you're supposed to beat Arkansas. You've got more talent. You're a better coach than Arkansas's coach. You have a better game plan most times, but somehow, some way, this is the game that Lane Kiffin finds a way to lose every year. The game that he shouldn't lose, and it just derails the whole season. Hell, it looked like he was on that track for having that game last week against Kentucky. So, and obviously there's some growing pains. He's got a new starting quarterback, so there's some kinks to work out there. It's not Jackson Dart, who we had for 3 years, but.
So let's look at something. We'll say Illinois and Ole Miss maybe on that same tier, right? We agree?
Yeah.
All right. Illinois next 4 games. They play number 22 Indiana at Indiana. Then they play at home. They have USC. Then they go to Purdue, and then they get Ohio State at home. So they got Indiana, who's ranked 22, USC, Purdue, Ohio State. Now, that's 2 ranked teams, right?
Mm-hmm.
USC, who knows? But that's what Illinois' next 4 games are. So that's a tough schedule.
Correct.
Absolutely. Tough schedule. Let's
And
see
you
what Ole Miss
almost expect the loss to Ohio State, right? Like
100%. All right, this is what Ole Miss has. They have Arkansas. Tough matchup, toss-up in my opinion. Then they get Tulane. They get a one-off, but they also did play Kentucky week 2. So they threw an SEC early, so they get another cupcake in there. Then they get number 3, LSU. Oof. And then somehow they get Washington State. So their next 4, Arkansas, Tulane, LSU, Washington State. LSU's ranked number 3. So I would say Illinois has the tougher schedule.
Way tougher, for sure.
So let's see how those teams do.
That will be interesting.
That's an interesting.
Which one of these games that he should win? Because let's cancel out the Ohio State and LSU games for both of them. Let's count both of those as losses for both of those teams. Just not that we know what's going to happen in those games, but let's just go off of one's the number 1 ranked team in the country and the other's the number 3 ranked team in the country. The rest of Ole Miss's games are against unranked opponents, and two of them aren't even Power 5 schools,
right?
Or Power 4 schools, right?
Right. And Ole Miss gets all those at home,
right? So
that's crazy. Their next 4 games are at home,
which means towards the end of the year they're on the road a lot, which is bad. You don't want to be on the road at the end of the year. You want to be on the road at the beginning.
I made a mistake. I missed a game. So Illinois has Western Michigan this week at home. I kind of jumped ahead. Then Indiana, USC, Purdue. So their next 4 is Western Michigan, Indiana, USC, Purdue. Week 5 would be Ohio State. Yeah. So that makes it a little bit better, right? Schedule-wise.
Right. It does.
Take out Ohio State.
Take out Ohio State and LSU. They still have the tougher schedule.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they're only playing 1 non-conference game in the next 4. And in the next 4, Ole Miss has 2 non-conference games, and neither one of those non-conference games are against Power 4 schools. So, and they're at home for all of them. Like, those are all games that you're supposed to win. Now, which one of those, or there are going to be multiple of those that Lane Kiffin drops, you know?
Weekend's one.
This weekend's one.
Woo pig suey. Let's go.
Well,
hey, we gotta do our picks.
We do.
Let's see. So week 1, man, I went 3-2.
Okay.
Week 1. Obviously, we didn't do week 2, but I had some good. Obviously the Weber State one I should have never picked. I tried to pick one that was crazy. I won off. You never seen teams play. That was stupid. My fault, guys, if you followed or used the picks. But this week, man, I've got some good ones. Usually I do 5, but I've got some really good picks I feel good about. So, you ready for them?
I am.
All right, guys, here we go. I might give them all to you, but let me just start. Let me just see how it goes. Let's see how it flows off the tongue. Here we go. Oregon is minus 27.5 versus Northwestern. Book it. Oregon's going to cover 27.5. Purdue plus 20.5 against USC, University of Southern Cal. Purdue plus 20.5. Ohio State minus 31.5 versus Ohio. I got to see it with Arkansas State. It happens usually in these in-state rivals. Don't worry about South Florida. Ohio State will roll against Ohio. Ohio State minus 31.5. Give me Texas A&M. Give me the SEC going against Notre Dame. Texas A&M plus 6.5. And then South Carolina is only 5.5 versus Vandy. I think that might be the lock of the week. South Carolina minus 5.5 versus Vandy. So that is, let's see, that's Oregon, Purdue, Ohio State, Texas A&M, South Carolina. And, of course, I've got Arkansas plus 7.5. Take that as what you will. That's a homer pick. I also like under 61.5 in that game. Like I said, it's gonna be a lot more defense. So that's Oregon minus 27.5, Purdue plus 20.5, Ohio State minus 31.5, Texas A&M plus 6.5, South Carolina minus 5.5, and then of course go Hogs, Hogs plus 7.5 and under 61.5.
I don't remember what I did week one, but I know it wasn't good. My week one picks were bad, and I do
They're tough. Week
apologize for
one's
that.
tough, man. You don't know. Week one's
Yeah,
tough. You don't know Florida State's going to come out and do that, right?
right. No, you don't. So, I have Wisconsin plus 21.5 against Alabama. Alabama probably wins that game, but Alabama is not Alabama anymore.
Still
So,
giving Alabama those big spreads,
right.
right?
Yeah. I have Tennessee plus 3.5 at Georgia. Tennessee's looked really good. I think it's going to be one of those like down to the wire. We might have a couple overtimes and it's won by a 2-point conversion somewhere, you know? Um, Texas Tech minus 23.5 at Oregon State.
Texas Tech, what?
Minus 23.5.
23, okay.
That is another team that hit the transfer portal hard and used a lot of NIL money to bring in a lot of big name players, and they have been blowing the doors off of teams. I had a minus 48.5 last week, and that hook killed me because they won by 48 points. So
Ranked 21st in the nation right now.
give me the University of South Florida plus 17.5 against Miami. I don't know if they come out and actually upset Miami, but I think they make it a good game and they make it interesting and they're not going to get blown out.
I love that one. I had that on my list too. I didn't read it, but I'm definitely going with it now, my man.
Yeah. And I got LSU minus 7.5 at Florida. I think after losing to USF last week, that locker room has no ears for anything that Billy Napier has to say. And I think he's completely lost it. And we'll for real see the end of Billy Napier this year sometime.
Awesome. Good picks. I like it.
Yeah. All
Well,
right.
sweet. That wraps it up for college.
Yes, it does. Let's move on to the NFL.
How about them Cowboys?
Oh, ouch.
That was a good Thursday night showing, right? I mean, come on. You didn't expect that. I didn't
No,
expect that.
I did expect them to get the doors completely blown off of them.
It was a weird. We lost. Like it's one of those games where it's like typical Cowboy fashion. Something happened, but it was never in my life that I think it would be CeeDee Lamb not bringing his hands to the game. Like that would have never. If there would have been a bingo card of everything you could expect to happen, it would not even been on the card. CeeDee Lamb
Right.
doesn't bring his hands like that. It was just insane. But man, we were marching the ball up and down the field. Defense was doing. Jalen Hurts killed it. Kudos to
Right.
him. What a stud. But so did Dak. If CeeDee
Yeah.
Lamb catches those balls, everybody's talking about Dak Prescott outplayed Jalen Hurts.
They for
And
sure are.
it was that close, and I was very happy to see, Brian Schottenheimer's first game. Could have gone, it could have been so much worse. It was awesome. He had control. He actually called timeouts at the right time.
Right.
Our offense looked good. We ran way more motion than we ran last year. I'm very pleased. I'm very excited to see us play the Giants this week because I just want to see that continue. And I know CD's not having a game like that again.
Look, I was surprised about how well the Cowboys played. Does CeeDee Lamb make 2 out of those 3 big drops that he had? That's a different ball game. You guys probably win the game. So I was definitely surprised by that. I'll tell you what, I was really surprised at our showing on defense. That was the biggest question mark for me coming into the season this year was what was our defense going to look like? I mean, everybody ran the ball right down our throats all year last year. And we did not allow that to happen from the Giants. We're going to find out tonight going up against the Green Bay Packers, with Josh Jacobs and Matt LaFleur's a great play designer. The game is literally just kicked off, so if I seem a little distracted, but it was great to see us be able to stop somebody from running the ball. Our pass defense looked fantastic. It looked like there was some rust on Terry McLaurin and Jaden Daniels. Trying to get their timing right. He missed him on a beautiful deep ball that would have definitely been a touchdown. So there's some kinks to work out still. Debo looked awesome in our offense. Looked like Cliff Kingsbury knew exactly how to use him. So yeah, I'm excited for the season to see what we can do this year. Year two of Jaden Daniels. Biggest surprise for you from week one of the NFL?
Oh man, biggest surprise for me. Well, maybe not the biggest surprise, but I tell you what, if I could get the Bills and the Ravens to play 10 times a year, boy, would I be a happy man. And
Boy,
that's football. That is
that
football.
was that game
That's
was
awesome. You
ridiculous.
remember a couple years ago, I think it might have been Bills and Bengals. Um, there was another game like that where it was just elite quarterback play. I'm trying to think because I felt the same way. I was like, man, if these guys could just play so many times a year. But that's what football is supposed to be like. You just
Yeah,
have the best two at the position. I mean, you can say what you want about Mahomes, but he is not as athletically gifted as Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson.
right.
They're just gifted quarterbacks. You just don't see that come along. And
Correct.
luckily, in our generation, we get to see the two of the best to ever do it. Get out there, run it, sling it, run it, and just they're never out of it. It's just amazing football. So surprised I have to think about that, but man, what a game! That was such a joy to watch on Sunday night.
Yeah,
Um, Happy to be a part of that, be a fan in this generation that can stay up, till
yeah,
almost midnight and watch a
right.
game because that's what it
Watch
takes.
the team be down by 15 points with 11 minutes left to go and find a way to come back.
And the fact that Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry can't run out the clock is a thing because John Harbaugh, that's a thing that's consistently happening, that they
Mhm.
cannot hold on to leads, double-digit leads in the fourth quarter. And I saw a stat where he's like, that's 17
Yeah,
blown double-digit leads for John Harbaugh, and
since
then
he's been the head coach. Yeah,
it's a handful for Lamar Jackson, and
right.
that's unacceptable. Lamar
Oh, yeah,
Jackson himself could be able to do a boot, roll out, hit a tight end, should be able to get you 10 yards twice in the last 2 minutes, 3 minutes to run the
right.
clock out. Then you add Derrick Henry,
Well,
you should be able to get 20 yards, 10 yards to get another clock reset and then get another first. That's all you need at times is 2 first downs and you're done.
and that fumble is crazy,
Yeah.
right? Because he's holding the ball in one hand, and I get your Derrick Henry, and you're probably the strongest man in the NFL, but you're trying to force this stiff arm and get this guy off of you while he's steadily just punching at the ball. He's not even really trying to take you down. He's punching at the ball. And instead of just going down and getting the play over with, you keep fighting because you've been running it all over him all night long. But as a veteran, 10-year veteran, you should know it's crunch time. I need to get down, let the clock run, and keep possession.
And man, you played sports. He was feeling it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He was feeling it. I know he was feeling it.
He was not worried about a fumble. That man was worried about, he had already done, it's almost like he'd already done enough for the game. And
Yeah.
he was having to do more because they were killing, he was killing it. I mean, that man in his 10th year in the league?
Yep. He's like 31 years old.
Is still hitting the hole and outrunning everybody on the defense.
Right.
I
I
have
don't
a
want
running
to. I don't
back.
want to hear nothing about these running backs are done at the age of 30.
Dude, I had a running back in Miles Sanders on Thursday night who bounces out and gets around everybody and has a 10-yard head start and can't outrun Braun, the linebacker from the Eagles. And he can't outrun him so bad that the linebacker, Braun, is coming up and punching it. He ain't even trying to tackle him. He's running so fast, he's punching at the ball. That's
Right.
that's what my running back was doing on Thursday night. And then Derrick Henry's out there 200 freaking 250, 260,
Yeah, something.
running everybody. And I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, that ain't fair. So, but I think he just lacks the judge. But again, it's all it takes, right? You have Derrick Henry have a brain fart and say,
Yeah.
I got to get an extra 5 yards instead of cover up. And you got Lamar. It seems like that's like a cheat code for getting 10 yards. You know what I mean? You're doing what I'm doing. I'm checking out that's a touchdown.
Holding. It's going to be a holding on the offense. I already seen the flag come out. So I would say my biggest surprise from the weekend was the Detroit Lions just getting mollywopped by the Green Bay Packers. I expected there to be some growing pains and some hiccups with having two brand new coordinators out there, and Aiden Hutchinson's coming back. It's his first real game from the broken leg, So I didn't expect a whole lot from him, but he was completely silent. I don't think they called his name one time during the game, and really Detroit was just mollywopped from the word go. Like their defense was non-existent. There was no running game to speak of. So that was my biggest surprise. Was just I expected some hiccups and some ups and downs from them because of the two new coordinators, but man, I didn't expect it to look that bad.
I agree that was bad. What about Monday night? What about J.J. McCarthy? How many points he scored in the fourth quarter?
What, he had 3 touchdowns, 2 passing. Yeah. I mean, he looked like absolute garbage for the first 3 quarters. It looked like they made the biggest colossal mistake ever by letting Sam Darnold go. And then the fourth quarter. But I was reading a stat. So this guy, over his entire high school and college career, was like 37-3.
Damn.
So he doesn't do anything but win, right? And I think sitting out an entire year, this was his first NFL start, prime time. I'm sure there were a lot of nerves, a lot of jitters, a lot of him questioning things inside his own mind. And somewhere in the midst of the fourth quarter, he decided he was just going to play football. And when he just played football, he was outstanding, and Bears fans were waking up Tuesday morning wondering why they can't seem to get it right at the quarterback position, because Caleb Williams looked great for 3 quarters, and then all of a sudden he couldn't hit the broadside of a barn.
The fan base that is just used to this broken record, right?
Yeah.
It's what it is. Like you can give us all of the hype and expectations, but we know how it's going to end. And it's like perfect storm right there, right? Here it is. We got the new coach, the genius, Ben Johnson. We got Caleb Williams under his tutelage. They come out that first drive. I was driving, listening to it on the radio, and I was like, oh, wow, he's just hitting running backs. He's checking down, drive down, they score. They drive down, they punt. They drive down, they kick a field goal. And they're just doing just enough, but nothing stupid. And then, boy, at the end of the game, it's like, oh, gosh, you can't complete a pass.
Right.
You're missing guys by 4 yards.
And it's when he's off script, right? When he goes to playing backyard football. And really, that's where he's most comfortable at. You can tell he's most comfortable trying to run around and create plays. The problem is that we're not in college or high school anymore. All of these guys are NFL players, right? When you were in college, you played against maybe 5 NFL players on the other side of the ball in each game.
Pretty much everybody on that defense can catch you.
Right. Yeah. They're all running as fast or faster than you. Even the big fat guys up front.
100%. Pretty much, especially on your team with the Bears, you don't have the elite wide receiver, the handful of guys. When you throw the ball up, there's a corner that can track that ball and snatch that ball, right?
Right.
These dudes, they're not only chasing you down when you're scrambling, like these D linemen and these linebackers, they're chasing you down and hurting you.
Yeah.
They're coming. It's different,
And Ben Johnson's like a NASA dude. Like he was like space aviation like major, some crazy.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, like he's like one of those super engineer smart dudes. So watching somebody take his perfectly designed play and chop it up the way Caleb Williams does is just grinding his gears, because I've heard like his press conferences where he's trying to be politically correct and say the right thing to the media, but you can like see it and hear it in his voice that it's like, fuck this dude.
That's not the play design. I designed it.
Right.
I designed it. Houston, Chicago, we have a problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But no, I'm excited for the season. I think we've got a lot of great football ahead of us.
I was looking at something. I know what my biggest surprise was.
What's that?
Aaron Rodgers throwing 4 touchdowns.
Aaron
Absolutely.
Rodgers, Aaron Rodgers looking like Green Bay Aaron Rodgers against
Aaron Rodgers.
former team, the
And
Jets.
the way that game started with Justin Fields was playing great and the Jets were up big. I thought, oh man, could you imagine? Like, because we saw the 2 years ago the week 1 injury and all the hype, and then bam, there goes the Achilles. It's like, oh, you poor Jets fans. Then he comes back next year, and you're like, tempered emotions, like, man, we hope, but we're not going to be as excited. And then we're not going to be good.
Yeah.
And so it's like, here come the Steeler fans. They're going to learn what it's like to have Aaron Rodgers in 2025, and then boom, like he just was hitting receivers and he just kept hitting the tight end and he kept hitting receivers and they kept, they didn't run the ball very well. But he just did. I was like, oh,
Well, and what was crazy to me was the final score of that game was like, what was it, like 34-33 or something? Yeah. And I was like, both of these teams scored in the 30s?
Like, right. Yeah, Justin Fields. On the other side, Justin Fields looked good.
He did.
He played a great game, good enough to win. I think that game was there a field goal at the end for the win?
Yeah, the very end.
Oswell kicked that 60-yarder, 60-yarder,
something
like that.
60-yard field goal to win the game. Aaron Rodgers marched him down the field. He did what Aaron Rodgers has always done. And, led the comeback drive at the very end of the game. Definitely looked like Aaron Rodgers of old. We'll see how long it lasts. I mean, he is 41 now. I'm 41 right now. I couldn't imagine playing a football game right now. I'm also never been a professional athlete, so I've never had that training. So, but it'll be interesting to see how it goes throughout the season. More of a concern is the vaunted Pittsburgh defense couldn't stop Justin Fields, and Garrett Wilson are the only weapons that the New York Giants offense has.
Breece Hall.
Well, Breece Hall, yeah, but
he's a weapon.
We haven't heard much from him in the last. I mean,
he's on 2 of my fantasy teams, so I got to throw that out there. He's a weapon. I know what I'm doing. Don't behave. I mean,
we'll see.
So, Commanders right now, we're both luckily, doing our podcast on Thursday night. We're lucky enough to kind of see some football too. You guys got the Packers tonight, and what a great matchup. I think you guys are going to win. We talked about that last night.
I'm nervous for the game. It looks like we're punting the ball away right now. So both teams have had it. Ooh, that was a bad decision not to.
Should have not caught that ball.
Or at least he should have fair caught it.
You can't drag it back in. So the guy just got viewers. He caught the ball about the 2.5
all the way into the end zone, and now he's trying to scream for the safety.
Yeah.
Come on, Percy Butler. That's not the way that goes.
That's all right.
But he definitely should have fair caught that ball because
at the 3,
he backed all the way up to like the 3-yard line.
At the 3, you let it bounce. Like at the 3.
If he would have fair caught it, he would have been at like the 8 or 10-yard line. Yeah, when he caught it, he ran backwards.
Oh, I missed that. Okay, I looked too late.
Yeah, when he caught it, he ran backwards trying to get away from it. Here comes the replay.
Oh, yeah, he was at like the 7. You're right, yeah. Okay.
So now he's down at like the 4. But
yeah, you guys, I mean, like you said when we started, McLaurin, that I expect McLaurin to get a touchdown tonight.
Yeah.
They just that didn't have any downfield game. McLaurin was a holdout. That's what's expected. You guys got rid of Robinson, so it's kind of a running back by committee. And the guys,
but Bill Krosky Merritt looked good. He is the first ever 7th round running back that in his first start to rush for 75 plus yards and a touchdown week 1.
Tell me that's amazing. Tell me what guy comes in as a 4-string running back and gets stat lines like that. I don't know. These depth charts are hilarious sometimes.
Yeah.
What do you mean the 4th? Not only did the guy get in and get how many carries did he have?
I can't remember how many carries, but he had 33% of the snaps.
33% stat as a 4-string.
Yeah. Well, that's where he started, was 4-string. I think probably if he's not starting tonight, it won't be but a couple weeks before he is. So apparently he was a highly touted running back. He started out at like Alabama State, and had a couple transfers, ended up at Arizona his final year, played one game for Arizona, and then they suspended him for some kind of eligibility deal. And he stayed at Arizona and played on the practice squad just because he loved football so much, and ended up going in the 7th round. But everything that I've read about him is that if he would have been able to play the whole year at Arizona, he would have been anywhere from a 2nd to a 5th round pick, depending on what his stats would have looked like. He fell so far because he didn't play at all. So, but he's like, one of the saving graces for him was that he stuck around to be on the practice squad on the scout team, just because he loved football so much. That's really what got him drafted.
Nice.
So it'll be interesting to see, but I think it's time for some NFL picks, and then we're going to take off so that I can go
watch this football.
Watch this football game, man.
All right, man. You want to go first on this one?
Yeah, I will go first. I like New England +1 at Miami. That was another big surprise from week 1, was that Miami had no fight against Indianapolis. And while New England didn't look great against Oakland, I think Miami might just be that bad. I like San Francisco -3 at New Orleans. I know Brock Purdy's out for a few weeks, but if you remember back to the year that Mac Jones was drafted, that was the quarterback that Kyle Shanahan really wanted, and they ended up drafting Trey Lance. So I think that he'll know how to use Mac Jones and put Mac Jones in the best possible position to win. I got Tampa Bay +2.5. I don't know why I didn't write who they were playing down here. But whoever it is, I like Tampa Bay +2.5. Emeka Egbuka looks great. Like, that rookie wide receiver out of Ohio State, Emeka Egbuka, keep an eye on him. That dude is going to do big things. He had like 2 or 3 touchdowns in his first ever start. So
if you listen to any Baker Mayfield interview, he sums it up. The kid's a stud. He's like, not only does he have every single physical tool, but he is head smart, works hard. Like, he's got it all. He just everything he does pops. So yeah, he's going to be a star.
And then I like Buffalo and the Jets to go over 46.5. And I like Jacksonville and Cincinnati to go over 49.
So what was that? Buffalo Jets over?
46.5.
6.5. All right. Nice. So I love the San Fran's pick. I've got them too. They're on my list. I feel really good about my NFL picks. So college is one thing, guys, but when I was looking at my NFL picks this week, man, I really feel amazing about this. I feel so good about it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I got 8 picks for you. Listen to this. Cincinnati -3 versus Jacksonville. Easy money. Buffalo -6.5 versus the Jets. Easier money. I like the over in the Cleveland-Baltimore game. It's 45. I like the over. Seattle +3 versus Pittsburgh. Aaron Rodgers did have a great game last week, but we're going to come back down to earth. Seattle's +3. Give me that +3. Like you said, San Fran -3 versus New Orleans. That might be the pick of the week. Give me my Dallas Cowboys, only -5 versus the Giants. We mollywop the Giants. It is what it is. Giants are the Giants again this year. We will cover 5 points. Philly -1 versus Kansas City. Philly is the Super Bowl champion. Philly waxed the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Does everybody forget in this game's only -1?
Yeah.
Give me Philly. Give me Philly. Plus,
and Kansas City didn't look great Friday against LA.
Look great, and they lost players.
Yeah.
Due to injury. Give me Philly -1. And then I like the Chargers -3 versus Las Vegas. Las Vegas looked good, but I just have a feeling this might be the year the Chargers they're the SEC or the AFC West champions.
Okay.
I like what I saw out of them. I think everybody's been so high on Denver, right? And everybody's Kansas
Denver
City.
looked bad against Tennessee.
They did. So give me the Chargers -3. So you got Cincinnati -3, Buffalo -6.5. Give me the over in the Cleveland and Baltimore game. That's at 45. Seattle +3. San Fran -3. Dallas -5. Philly -1. And the Chargers -3. I guarantee you out of that 7, I'm going to hit 6 of them.
Okay. I like that.
Maybe not parlay all 7, but go ahead and put you $20 on all of them and you win over $100.
Yeah. I like it. All right. Well, with that, the Star Command is out. If you could like, subscribe, share, get us out there, and we will see you guys next week.